Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2023 State of the City Address. First tonight, the presentation of our colors from the Salt Lake City Fire Department's Honor Guard. Then followed by a land acknowledgement from Jesse Wyaskett from Utah's Dine Bekeya. Then the singing of our national anthem by East High School student Zara Landstedt. Please rise for the presentation of the colors.
You Indian tribe. I am part of the Ungapagrig band, and I am the communication director here at Utah Dine Bekeya. And I want to emphasize on our mission, which is to protect our tradition, language, and our ancestral lands. And tonight, I would like to do a land acknowledgement. I want to acknowledge that this land, which is named for the Ute tribe, is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. Salt Lake City respects and recognizes the enduring relationship between many indigenous people and their ancestral homelands, and we respect the sovereign relationship between tribes, cities, states, and the federal government. We cherish our partnership with the Native nations and urban Indian communities and affirmed our commitment to strengthening that connection in the years to come. Takuban.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
If you were to paint a picture of the kind of city that really showed what it meant to be a great city, what would you put in the frame? Your painting might just look a lot like Salt Lake City, a place we know affectionately as Small Lake City. A picture-perfect kind of place framed by the Wasatch in the east and the Great Salt Lake to the west. A city that will surprise you with its tenacity and pride. Framed with boldness and color, where get up and go got together with go outside. This town provides a sense of place, a feeling of home, and a special bond to one another, framed by more than family ties, but framed by action, deeds, words, art, music, faith, and feeling. If you really think about it, Small Lake City has become all Lake City, an evolution, new, natural, and vibrant, with all eyes focused on the future and a nod to our unique past. Here we share all of our challenges, and all together we can find solutions. A place where we are proud to be in the frame with people of all stripes, with all of our family, all of our friends, all in this community together. All part of the picture here in All Lake City.
Now I would like to introduce Salt Lake City Council member representing District 1, Victoria Petro.
Good evening. I am Victoria Petro. I am the City Council member representing District 1, which is the northwest quadrant of this, my favorite city in the whole world. When I ran for the office I now hold, I did so with a conviction that Salt Lake City is rich in complex and beautiful history, that it's persevering through the crucible that is our modern world, and it is capable of wonderful things yet to come. Coming from the West Side, the brightest moments of our shared history have failed to illuminate my community and our unique strength and beauty. But stepping into this modern expectation that our generation will stop that those past patterns was a natural fit for me. I'm thrilled to tell you all that tonight, my optimism is alive and well after completing my first year of service, and much of it has to do with the path that I've charted forward with our mayor. We live in a world that tells us people and issues are binary, good or evil, smart or dumb, right or wrong, black or white. The truth is, there's a gray area full of varied paths to achieve good outcomes, and people are dynamic. That is why building a team that works together well has been sustaining. Being able to dream boldly with this mayor, while also treading water in the overwhelming tempests that arise regularly, is a hallmark of our work style. When I came into the office, a bit of a storm of idealism and passion and a refusal to hush myself, other people could have and would have written me off. Instead, the mayor and I, through slow, steady, and deliberate engagement, have repeatedly come together to work toward goals that will enhance our already vibrant city. We have come together in celebration. We've come together in tears. We've come together in consternation, and most often we come together in hope. We share a vision for our home city that sings its praises, that amplifies the natural beauty by valuing green space, that stands in awe of our brilliant residents who are leading in health sciences and arts and humanities and economic progress, a city that is wiser due to the rough waters that we've passed through thanks to COVID, natural disasters, and social upheaval, and that is committing ourselves to making real those lessons that have been hard learned. This moment in history is daunting. It feels as though everything is important all at once to everyone all the time. Communication and prioritization feel impossible some days. But having leadership that prioritizes a long-term vision where Salt Lake City is home to everyone who chooses to make a home here and has basic safety and prosperity that is the American dream is going to help us get to the next moment in history. And that next moment in history is one where I hope we all get a chance to rest and enjoy the fruit of our current struggles. I'm proud to be here tonight, joined by the most amazing co-counselors in the world, who are all skillful professionals. They're all skillful professionals who lend their insights, passions, and training to engage the work of our city well. I'm proud of the work we've accomplished my first year, and I've got a docket even longer for the next year. The collective elected leadership in this city is working to center our citizens, to grow equitable opportunities, and to give the next generation a city that is in even better condition than when we found it. It is with great love for the city that I have chosen to call home. It is with great pride in the work that we've accomplished so far, and it is with great humility at the work ahead of us that I introduce to you the 36th Mayor of Salt Lake City, Erin Mendenhall.
I might as well go home. That was just perfect. Thank you, Victoria. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see all of you. Thank you for being here tonight. And thanks to our members of the Salt Lake City Council for joining me here. Thank you for being here. I'm so thrilled to be with you here tonight to share the exciting progress that we've made for Salt Lake City. Can you hear me in the back over there? Yeah, okay. Can you hear me over there? Okay, good. It's so good to be back together. This is the last time that we held State of the City in person, which was in February of 2000. Woodbine Food Hall didn't yet exist. In fact, in February of 2020, it does feel that long sometimes, but it's not that long. So much of this granary district that we're in and gathered in tonight right now, was still waiting to be imagined. 3 years ago, you would have found yourself here in a much quieter and lower profile part of our capital city than it is today. Rico's was here, and Safe Haven just across the street were this early in lifeblood to this community, beginning what has now become a much more vibrant and active neighborhood, surrounded by a growing community of businesses, restaurants, biotech, nightlife, and it all contributes to the very pulse of our whole city. There are buildings here in this neighborhood that have been here for decades, in the heart of one of the city's oldest neighborhoods, that are being reinvented for our community to rediscover and enjoy anew. From Mott's right there, where I ate earlier tonight, to with their artisan pizza, to 3 Cups Coffee. We've got Taste of Louisiana here, our owner of this space, Max Korath, and local chef Zach Howa are fostering entrepreneurs who are in search of a foundation to grow their businesses. Woodbine, the Granary District as a whole, these spaces are emblematic of our city, a place that is really no stranger to reinvention and evolution. A place that grows with and for the residents and the needs of our community. A place that continues to change. We never stop. While underneath it all, staying true to itself as the city that we've always known and loved. I am so proud of you, Salt Lake City, for all that we've accomplished together. What an undeniably exciting time of possibility and potential for our city right now. Downtown Salt Lake City has not only recovered from the pandemic, but it's more alive and energetic than ever. Based on visitation to shops, restaurants, offices, and parks, our downtown has recovered better than any other downtown in the nation. Yeah, that's you. Our downtown powered by net zero renewable energy is right on the horizon for us, as well as more than a dozen cities across the state of Utah, thanks to the first of their kind partnerships that we forged together. The biggest stars in the NBA are going to be playing in our front yard next month, bringing with them more than $40 million in economic impact and another opportunity to show the world Salt Lake City. And instead of moving on from the Outdoor Retailer Show and its $46 million annual investment in our region, we worked together, we showcased our city's unrelenting commitment to environmental stewardship, and we won them back for new shows that just started up this month. And if you ask me, we are on the right track for being able to say we're going to get another well-known winter sports event to come back to our city in 2030 or 2034. Just this month, we embarked on a historic journey with Delta Airlines, and I want to thank their team for being here with us tonight and flying all the way in from Atlanta. Thank you for being here. This historic new use agreement with Delta will mean that Salt Lake City will remain Delta's workhorse in the West through at least 2044. Salt Lake City we are the fastest growing hub for Delta nationwide, and their $3 billion in commitment prove that they are dedicated to our market here in Salt Lake City. They are a key partner for our new airport, which will see an additional 5 gates open this coming May and 17 new gates open in November. And trust me, the walk from Concourse B is about to get a whole lot shorter. The Central Tunnel is coming. If the work and the outcomes of the last year and before that even have taught us anything, it's that Salt Lake City is in a constant state of forward motion, and there is just no looking back. How we rise to the opportunities and the challenges in the next 5 years are going to chart the course for the next century of this capital city, and it will set in motion a future that is bright for generations to come. I've said it before, and it's worth stating again and again. The character of this city is not created through our successes or our challenges that we face together. It's only revealed. The character is powerful, it's creative, tenacious, and so caring. There's no stopping us. We're bold, we're courageous, we're Salt Lakers, and we are ready. So tonight, I'm telling you, the state of this city is ready. We have a truly incredible team of public servants. So many of you are here tonight. Thank you. And they work for you, Salt Lake City. It would take me hours to provide you an update on the impressive things that they've accomplished in just the last year, many of which you can now check out on our annual report card. We release one every year, and we just released it yesterday. But once an air quality advocate, always an air quality advocate. So let me share with you an update on some of the exciting work that we've done to improve our air quality and our incredible parks. Reducing and eliminating our dependence on fossil fuels is an absolutely essential component of our work to improve the air we breathe and to fight climate change. Did you know that 1 hour of operating a gas-powered lawnmower produces the same pollution as driving a state-of-the-art car 45 miles? And it's right in your backyard. Last year alone, we swapped out 539 gas-powered mowers in the city. We partnered, and we focused on a way to expand access to our state's trade-in program. That partnership has now quadrupled the number of city residents who are able to trade in their polluting lawnmower for a clean electric model at no cost to them. The Free Fair February, let me say it over because it's a tongue twister, the Free Fair February program that my administration developed with UTA last year was so successful that Governor Cox has proposed a year-long pilot program. That's a huge development for the state of Utah. Someday we will have free fare forever. But for now, free fare for the 10 days around the upcoming All-Star Game next month makes us very happy, and we're grateful for our partners at UTA for getting that done. I'm also, I love the enthusiasm. Yes, UTA. I am a firm believer in us leading by example. And one of the ways that the city can do this is by shifting the electricity we use as city government, libraries, police stations, city hall, you name it, to clean, renewable sources. And in 2021, Salt Lake City forged a partnership to build an 80-megawatt solar farm just west of us in Tooele County. That's going to generate enough electricity to power more than 80% of the government's use. And I'm happy to report construction of that project is well underway. The frames and brackets for the billion solar panels, I'm only slightly exaggerating, they've been installed now, and I'm excited to see the project come together as quickly as possible. But even bigger than that, so much bigger than that, is the project that will deliver net 100% clean, renewable energy to every single customer in Salt Lake City by 2030. For years, we expected that we would start receiving all of our electricity from renewable sources by 2030. But in 2021, we found out that this might be pushed out another 20 years. We responded by negotiating what became a nationally unprecedented partnership with 14 other local governments in the state and our partners at Rocky Mountain Power. Thanks for being here tonight. That partnership is forming a new cooperative agency that will bring net 100% renewable electricity to every single home, every business, every energy consumer in the entire city. It's called the Community Renewable Energy Agency, and it will make it possible for everyone in the city to eliminate their dependence on energy from fossil fuels by 2030. After months of legal and logistical work with our partners, we are happy to say that we'll be going before the Utah Public Service Commission in March and could have a rate structure approved as early as June. And for this air quality advocate, that is really exciting progress. Thank you for your hard work. But since cars and trucks driving on our roads are still the #1 contributor to the valley's air pollution, accelerating the widespread transition from gas-powered to clean electric-powered vehicles is mission critical for our air quality. The city is continuing to expand our electric vehicle infrastructure both at private and public locations. And demand is growing so quickly now it's incredible. The use of the city's EV ports, our charging ports, has gone up 68% in just the last 3 years. The city granted permits for EV ports at homes and businesses at a rate of more than 1 per day last year. And my administration has proposed an ordinance that would require builders of new apartments and condo buildings to ensure that 20% of all their parking stalls are ready for the wiring for EV ports in the future. And I'm optimistic that my city council friends will approve that very soon when we bring that to them. When I ran for this job, though, I promised that our taxpayers alone would not be the ones paying for the city's growth by themselves, and that we would pursue new funding for ways for us to help fuel our growth. And that's happening in a lot of ways, but one of them is on our EV infrastructure. The city applied for and won funding from Rocky Mountain Power to install 3 new EV stations, and they'll be installed on 2nd South this year. We also analyzed public sites all over the city, libraries and parks and offices, to consider where the next round of charging stations should go. And the work from that basis forms the basis, for hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal funding that we will be applying for in the next few months to subsidize our growing EV network. We've already identified 20 potential new station locations with a capacity for 75 more charging ports. We're going to keep working to make sure that Salt Lake City is the friendliest state for clean electric vehicles. Our ongoing work to improve our air quality also includes now 3,000 additional trees we've planted in West Side neighborhoods over the last 3 years. And those trees are about so much more than beautification and heat island reduction. These trees are growing up to serve on the front lines of our fight against air pollution. Each tree will grow to generate 500,000 pounds of new oxygen every year. And they also remove 20,000 pounds of pollution right in the neighborhoods that need it the most. Because if we don't take proactive and ambitious steps to protect and strengthen our environment, we risk losing the benefits of its protections. In November, our voters resoundingly approved an $85 million bond to pay for improvements to our parks and green spaces in every council district in the city. That'll make transformational investments that we will feel for generations. And we know it will create the first ever regional park on our city's west side. So thank you for voting. Please always do vote. But thank you for supporting that. And tonight I'm happy to report that construction on the first phase of our Glendale Park will begin by this fall. As we've grown from a 12-hour to an 18-hour city over the last decade, we have not been immune to the serious challenges that are common in major cities all across the world, least of that crime. As mayor, I have no greater responsibility than keeping our people safe, and fighting crime will always be a focus that is most critical for my administration. In my weekly meetings with our police chief, Mike Brown, my top priority is always to ensure that our data-driven strategy is putting our public safety resources where they are needed the most. Our officers need to be where they can do the most good, and at the same time, we're building our civilian capacity to handle calls for service that don't require sworn officers to respond. Our officers, 911 dispatchers, and our firefighters have embraced new training on engaging with those with invisible disabilities. The impact of their work is saving lives. It's bringing more de-escalation to dangerous situations, and it's also growing an understanding of those that we serve every day. I am so proud of our 911 firefighters and our police department and their dedication to not only serve, but to evolve with our growing city. But unlike so many other major cities, I'm sorry, I need to back up a moment here. As it did across the nation, crime in Salt Lake City peaked during the height of the pandemic. But unlike so many other major cities, I'm proud to say that our citywide crime levels have come down by more than 12% since that time. That number is the direct result of our department leading out with some of the most innovative and positively impactful policing tactics. Our officers are pulling extra shifts to ensure that we have enough officers out on patrol, and our shift to stratified policing, or what we call hotspot intervention, has led to 23% reduction in violent street crime in those identified areas compared to the same time period before. In early 2021, we forged a new partnership with federal law enforcement agencies that's already taken 270 violent criminals off of our streets, in addition to more than 300 guns, 53 kilos of meth, 7 kilos and 7 kilos of cocaine. Our Project Safe Neighborhoods partnership, as we call it, is making our communities safer, and it's celebrated as a success by the U.S. Attorney and all of our federal partners. Because when we work together, we end up leveraging our limited resources in ways that the benefits are profound. But all the data in the world really doesn't make a difference if you yourself become a victim of crime. And we will never forget that even one crime in this city is too many. Our work here will never be done. And my promise is to you that we will be unrelenting as we continue to work to make our city safer and more just for everyone. People should feel safe also as they travel on our city streets or sidewalks or bike lanes or byways. But sadly, that is just not the case for so many Salt Lakers today. And 2 weeks ago, I announced that Salt Lake City was committing to Vision Zero and pledging to a series of steps that are designed to achieve zero traffic-related deaths and serious injuries by the year 2035. In the week following that announcement, there were 6 auto versus pedestrian incidents. 2 elementary students in a crosswalk on their way to school, a 31-year-old man crossing the road late at night, 2 teenagers on their way to a convenience store, and a man in his 30s killed in a hit and run near Trolley Square. One act of vehicular violence in a week is unacceptable, but 6 is unconscionable. Wherever you are in Salt Lake City, you deserve to be on our safest street. And as a city, we won't stop working to make our streets safer. We've taken steps like reducing the speed limit on residential streets from 25 to 20 miles an hour, and creating a Safe Streets Task Force to identify traffic violence hotspots and recommend corrective actions there. We will build our budget to begin installing more left turn protections in the city, which actually account for 19% of all of those auto versus pedestrian crashes. And we're going to reduce the number of right-hand turn, legal right-hand turns at city intersections, which account for 11% of auto versus pedestrian crashes. We'll also continue to increase funding for traffic calming measures throughout the city to help slow cars down and provide better access for cyclists and pedestrians. But the hard fact remains, the most powerful tool for reducing traffic violence is us. It's the choices that we make when we get behind the wheel. My goal is to have the safest streets in America. Our residents, our businesses, and our visitors deserve nothing less. But no issue has challenged our city, like the state's and the nation's homelessness crisis. There is no issue that I spend more time on, or no issue that inspires stronger feelings, no issue on which it has been more important to cultivate a strong and productive partnership with local and county and state partners. Homelessness has continued to grow in just about every city in America. And for years, it felt like here in our capital city, we shouldered the vast majority of the state's humanitarian crisis on our own, beyond our capacity and well beyond the city's role. As much as some folks out there, even today, would love to tell you that homelessness should be solved by the mayor alone, that is a backwards and a false notion. This city team is doing more than ever before to serve our neighbors who become unhoused, to build supportive housing, and most critically, to build the partnership with our state and county and sister cities that has been lacking for so long. This partnership among levels of government is a true relationship where we listen, we share, we plan, we learn, and most of all, we move strategically together, because we know that together we are greater than the sum of our parts. Together, we've brought other cities to the table for this work. Together, we funded more than 400 new permanent and transitional supportive housing units opening in just a few months. And together, we're finally finding the way to services and housing, and not the cycle of incarceration and homelessness for those with severe mental illness who live on our streets today. Homelessness is complex. It's as complex as each individual and family who experience it. But we should not be intimidated. I'm not, and I'll tell you why. Because we're builders. Governor Cox, Wayne Niederhauser, Mayor Jenny Wilson, Mayors Wood, Silvestrini, and Stevens, who host resource centers, Catherine Fife, Michelle Hoon, Tricia Davis, Lori Hopkins, Aaron and David Litvack, our own Andrew Johnston, and so many more who have the right temperament, expertise, and the commitment to make an impact. We should not be intimidated, because we are the state with the strongest economy, 15 years running, with $1 billion state budget surplus. We should not be intimidated because we have approximately 400 individuals in our county, 700 in our state, who don't fit into the shelter system. That is compared to more than 1,000 people in Idaho, nearly 3,000 in Colorado, 4,200 in Nevada, 5,500 in Arizona, and 170,000 in California. We have 700. We can do this. Now, I'm not telling you that homelessness will ever be, nor has it ever been, completely erased. But I'm telling you that we have turned a page from the finger pointing and isolation of our past to the catalytic and productive and finally focused partnership with the state, county, sister cities, service providers, and community members who experience homelessness. And this is where we should be working as conveners and collaborators. This is what our residents deserve, housed and unhoused. That is why Salt Lake City has partnered with the Other Side Village, our friends at the Other Side Academy. Thank you for being here tonight. And we're going to be building a community of tiny homes for our unsheltered neighborhoods. Progress at that site is moving forward. A key environmental study is about to begin. And as soon as possible, our administration is ready to move at light speed to make sure that you can put a shovel in the ground as soon as possible. We can't wait for that to happen. In addition, late last year, the City Council approved my plan, thank you, to urgently allocate $6 million into 3 projects that are designed to create more than 400 beds in permanent supportive housing units. Those funds, joined by the investments of the county and the state, and I'm delighted to report that we're on target to open those beds this spring as the winter closes. The rest will open over the course of the summer season. Salt Lake City is investing more in affordable housing units than we have ever before. In 2021 and 22, we invested a combined $15.7 million in affordable housing through our city's redevelopment agency. This fiscal year alone, we're investing more than $30 million. And I want to put that in perspective. Salt Lake City did not invest a dime in affordable housing before the year 2009. And what we're investing this last year alone is more than we invested in the 10 years that followed combined. 2009 to 2019, we beat it all in 1 year last year. Thank you, Council. The 2,494 units of RDA-backed affordable housing that have opened over the last 3 years or are already in production right now are more units than opened in all previous years combined. Thank you, City Council, for funding that with us. But this is just the beginning. Our Thriving in Place project sets out to focus our anti-gentrification work and has yielded 21 recommendations, many of which I plan to bring to the Council this year to keep people in their homes whenever possible and to keep them in their community when it isn't. One of those recommendations is at the heart of a major new avenue the city is creating to expand our inventory of family-sized, affordable housing that I'm thrilled to tell you about tonight. With the support of our City Council, which we will go through, thank you, we will invest up to $10 million in wealth-building homes for 1,500 families in our city. Using President Biden's Federal Rescue Plan funds, we will build intergenerational stability and combat homelessness by creating stable, affordable, and wealth-generating housing for families in Salt Lake City. This will be the most innovative and equity-building housing model Utah has ever seen, creating at least 1,000 new units of very affordable housing and 500 resident-owned homes that will create equity-like nest eggs for people currently unable to access our housing market. Our partnership to achieve this breakthrough housing is with the Perpetual Housing Fund, led by Chris and Ashley. Thank you for being here with us tonight. This fund is designed with the residents, not a corporation, sharing the profits each year and being the beneficiaries of any property sales or refinancing. So instead of taking the money that a normal model would and plowing it into future units, it takes that revenue and puts it in the pockets of the residents. It's not only new housing that's affordable that we're creating, It will be ongoing checks in the hands of the residents. It's millions of dollars that will go right into the pockets of families. I'm incredibly excited about this transformative new approach and the role that it will play in fighting displacement in our city and the impact that it will have on ensuring that people at all income levels will be able to continue to call Salt Lake City home. I'm determined to continue making record investments in affordable housing in this city, and I'm committed to using every tool in the city's toolbox and actually to keep creating new ones to responsibly and equitably expand our city's housing inventory. We will never surrender to gentrification, and we will do everything that we can to ensure that the people who make this city can continue to live in this city. Earlier this month, a team of noted scientists presented the results of a devastating new study of the Great Salt Lake. In just 5 years, the entire lake could be gone, and the time to act is much, much shorter. I'll say it again because according to this study, in just 5 years, the Great Salt Lake could be gone. Last year, residents, businesses, and institutions within our city, within the city's water service area, have collectively reduced our consumption by more than 15%, saving 2.9 billion gallons of water. We have considerable reason to be proud of this substantial community effort. This winter's above average snowfall will also help, but scientists warn that it's actually not nearly enough, not remotely close, to solve the greater problem that the lake faces. While drought conditions have improved since last year, all of Utah still remains in a serious drought. It will take more than one good year to pull our watershed out of this decades-long mega drought. More sobering are two key facts that put our challenge in perspective. First, the entire Salt Lake Valley, the Great Salt Lake Basin, only accounts for about 9% of the total water use affecting the Great Salt Lake each year. And second, remember those nearly 3 billion gallons of water that we saved throughout the community last year? Well, the Great Salt Lake is sitting at, on average, a 391 billion gallon water deficit right now. The legislature is planning to make this a major priority during their session. I'm grateful for that. And I've spoken at length with Governor Cox, Speaker Wilson, and other state leaders, and I know this is important to them. We aren't in this alone, but we have to do more. History will judge us for the choices we make and don't make right now. And 5 years is not a long time, so it won't actually be our grandkids or our kids who judge us, because we'll be able to judge ourselves. I'm not going to sit back and watch the Great Salt Lake, our namesake, turn into toxic dust, and we can't put our feet up and say we've done enough with 3 billion gallons. So today I'm announcing 3 major new proposals that I'll bring to our City Council. First, Salt Lake City will conduct a top-to-bottom review of the city government's water usage in every facility, every park, at the cemetery, and will conduct a detailed assessment of every irrigation system, every water fountain, and every green space we see over. This is about getting smarter and getting more creative and identifying opportunities to do better, all as part of an aggressive, coordinated strategy throughout the city. The conservation steps we've already taken have been meaningful and they've been effective, but we know we can and must do better. So second, one of the most effective strategies for inducing water conservation is to send a price signal through our water rate structure. Salt Lake City has long utilized a tiered water structure for conservation, and that's where the cost of water go up the more water you use, particularly during our outdoor watering season. This 4-tiered rate structure is intended to discourage high water use while allowing affordable water for basic purposes. Other communities needing to reduce water use have tried to discourage usage through significant and permanent across-the-board increases that leave users no financial choice. But given our successful conservation record, we're active. I don't believe that that particular approach is right for us. So instead, I'll recommend to our City Council that the city implement a temporary drought surcharge on the biggest water consumers to encourage more reductions in outdoor watering. And done right, done fairly, and when we do this equitably, customers who use less water can avoid the surcharge altogether. As drought conditions in the region improve, the surcharge comes down. As it worsens, the surcharge would increase. When the drought ends, it would end altogether. And third, Salt Lake City's water reclamation facility, I call it the poop plant, but it's where it all goes, folks. Water reclamation, it's clean when it comes out. They treat an average of 35 million gallons of water every single day. And today, I'm asking the council to stand with me in a formal pledge that the high quality water that they treat there will go to the Great Salt Lake. And I will authorize our Public Utilities Department to file the necessary water right documentation with the state, amounting to an annual contribution of nearly 13 billion gallons of water from our city. The disappearance of the Great Salt Lake is not something that's just happening to us. It's something that is happening largely because of us and because of climate change. Utahns are not victims or passive observers. We must take responsibility for our choices and take bold action now. I know we can do it because Salt Lakers are deeply committed to the environment year-round. In fact, the sustainability work we've done together over the last 3 years has made it possible to do some incredible things over the next 5, 10, and beyond. Our city is on track to be more environmentally resilient than ever before. The 1,000 trees we've planted on the west side each year, the $85 million parks bond that voters approved just last fall, the new readiness requirements for electrical vehicle charging spots in new residential projects, the solar energy that will soon power our city government, the net 100% renewable energy that is finally on track to arrive citywide before the end of the decade. All these pieces, they connect to empower an incredible future for Salt Lake City, where we can take our vision for cleaner air and a stronger environment up to the next level. It's a future with more green roofs that can capture pollution and produce oxygen to improve our air quality, in addition to reducing this heat island effect in the city. A future with a denser urban forest that catches up on decades of ecological neglect on our west side. A future with more public parks, including smaller pocket parks throughout the city to strengthen community. You know there's more dogs in this city, more households with dogs than there are households with kids. Those dogs gotta go somewhere. In City Council, we need more pocket parks, okay? I'm coming back. A future with more community gardens and the city's first urban orchard, where residents who are hungry can go and pick fresh fruit and vegetables free of charge. A future with more public-private partnerships that leverage our awesome public spaces so much farther with private resources, expertise, and time. A future with more public transit options at less cost, free fare forever. A future where the Jordan River is the heart of our West Side park systems, an ecological and recreational hub that draws people from all over the city, walking their dog or riding a kayak or getting on their bike. A future with 75 acres connecting the west side to the downtown because the trains are buried underground. Hold on, there's more. A future with more recreational bike paths, a green loop around downtown, and walking trails. A future where no resident in this city is more than a 15-minute walk or a bike ride away from their daily needs. A future where the city is running its own sustainability rebate program to help residents not only trade in their polluting lawnmowers, but also get rebates for clean electric-powered snowblowers, indoor air filters, e-bikes, smart sprinklers, to help us all do more to cut down on the pollution we create right at home. A future where families fit in our city, literally and figuratively, because the city and our partners are building them in and helping them afford to thrive here. This is the future I'm passionate about building, and it's only possible because of the incredible progress we've made together over these last few years. Think about it. Salt Lake City residents will soon be able to charge their e-bike or electric car at city-owned EV stations, which are powered by clean, renewable solar energy. And we're less than 7 years away from every Salt Lake City resident being able to charge their phone, their lawnmower, their electric vehicle, and run their entire home on clean, renewable electricity. That's incredible. We have worked so hard, but we've worked hard together, and we are ready for this greener, more resilient future that this city deserves. And finally tonight, I want to talk about growth and connectedness. I believe that the defining question of our time is whether we make the city's growth work for us or let it happen to us. For 3 years, we've executed a strategy that's more akin to surfing a wave rather than futilely trying to hold it back. And as a result, the next decade in our city is just incredible. Unlike other cities whose downtowns haven't recovered, unlike other cities whose pre-pandemic era crime rates are still growing, unlike other cities who have been unable to sufficiently rebuild their police departments from the mass resignations of 2020 and 21, unlike other cities whose populations are shrinking, and unlike other cities whose economies haven't modernized and prepared for a high-tech future, unlike other cities whose leaders insist on going it alone instead of working with their state and regional partners, unlike other cities, Salt Lake City is ready, but we have to keep innovating, and we have to keep working together. Growth is good, but it's obvious that it comes at a cost to us. And one of those costs is connection. As we get bigger as a city and the connections between us stretch and strain, all of it is happening at the same time where social media and digital algorithms are designed literally to separate us and divide us from each other, politically, socially, even culturally. Our connection to each other as a city, as a community, is worth fighting for. But the solution isn't ham-handedly trying to go back to when our city was smaller. Scaring people into being afraid of change isn't the way. No, instead, our thinking needs to grow and get bigger too. Our creativity, our ingenuity, our resourcefulness, and most importantly, our commitment to staying connected needs to grow. We can't let our rapid residential growth distract us from the need for economic growth in those very neighborhoods as well. Increased commercial density actually brings us closer together. Neighborhood coffee shops and grocery stores, even bars and restaurants, they become intersections for interaction with our neighbors. Retail stores and offices that create jobs and create daily foot traffic and bring streams of consumers up to those storefronts. The goal is not to replace locally owned small businesses, actually. It's to support them, to help them benefit from the city's growth, and then surround them with fellow businesses that also help bring those customers through their door. When I became mayor, we shifted the priority of the city's economic development department from a focus on attracting new businesses to supporting our existing businesses. It's absolutely vital to the health of our city, and it's actually helping to create a more attractive and inclusive economy for those looking to come here. We're going to build on that kind of work, and we're going to strengthen the economic fabric of our city by intensifying our economic development in neighborhoods that are quickly adding residents but not yet retailers. Salt Lake City's economic density has to keep pace with our residential growth. Downtown, that means more connective tissue between the entertainment and the cultural opportunities available in the city. So if you're coming downtown for a jazz game or a concert or to go to a restaurant, there should be 2 or 3 other places that you want to go while you're in the area. Art galleries and unique stores to explore, bars or dessert spots. We're not just after economic density. We want economic diversity that makes the city's commercial fabric colorful and strong. We're going to keep building out the ballpark station area plan. We're going to see it through. And we're going to make that area safer and stronger even without the bees. And of course, I'm sad to see the bees go. Their impact on our city's history and identity these last 30 years hasn't been so much about what happened on the field, but about the memories that we made in the stands with our kids, with our friends, even with Bumble, that weird bee. My team and I worked closely with the team's owner over the last 20 months, but it became clear that the bees anchoring their development in Daybreak was the likeliest outcome. The opportunity we now have, actually the responsibility that we have, is to find a way for the community to benefit from the property 365 days a year. Our ambitious ballpark station area plan was approved in November after 11 months of public comment, and we went to work right away to implement it. A new crosswalk is being designed on 13th South near the track station to improve pedestrian safety. If you know where I'm talking about, it's where those bars come down and people rush across without a crosswalk. It's coming. The traffic analysis is already underway to explore lane reconfiguration right there on 13th South, and we've assembled a team to review zoning changes in the area. The departure of the ball club gives us the chance to reimagine the neighborhood beyond the streets and sidewalks in the station area plan, and to build on the transportation and the public safety improvements we'll make with an even bigger vision that will benefit more residents, more businesses, and more of our city. We now have access to 13.5 acres of prime real estate, and I'm committed to a creative and an aggressive path forward that results in the year-round daily activation of that neighborhood that the city and those neighbors deserve. While the city has a number of really exciting ideas of how to utilize the stadium property, others have great ideas too. Even you out here in the crowd, we want to hear from you on the Ballpark Next website. But it's important to me that our community is a partner with us moving forward. So I hope you will visit ballparknext.com and be a part of the process and share your ideas. Gail Miller and the leadership of the Larry H. Miller Company love Salt Lake City and the ballpark neighborhood, and they have really treasured their time at Smith's Ballpark. When it became clear that the Bees would definitely move, I urged them to consider their legacy and demonstrate their commitment to the continued strength of the ballpark neighborhood. And so, with our city as their partner, I'm excited to announce that the Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation has agreed to lead a $100 million public-private partnership, a fundraising initiative that will provide a historic, human-centered investment in the ballpark neighborhood. Thank you. In the coming months, along with Salt Lake City, Zions Bank, and Intermountain Health as founding partners, this innovative and collaborative public-private partnership will generate investment dollars that will give life to programs and opportunities that build human capital, improve social determinants of health and economic mobility, and truly give life to an entire community and city beyond. There has never been an investment like this in our city before. Thank you, Gail. This commitment of human-centered programs and life-lifting opportunities will bring tremendous leverage to the ideas that are being generated right now in the Ballpark Next competition. Gail, thank you for being here tonight. And thank you to your entire family, your foundation, and to the Larry H. Miller Company. So many thanks. So many thanks also to our partners at Zions Bank and Intermountain. Cities are constantly changing. It's in our nature. Actually, cities that don't change and don't adapt or evolve, they die. Reinvention is how cities survive. Rocky Mountain Power's 100-acre Power District campus is more proof of that. And it's another incredible example of an opportunity for us to drive new economic opportunities for our West Side. I'm deeply committed to strengthening the economic texture of our West Side by working to attract national retailers and supporting local entrepreneurs who are ready to open brick and mortar locations in our community. And over the next few years, we're going to focus more on economic infill, preparing vacant city-owned properties in our downtown and our West Side for commercial development, not exclusively for housing, but to attract economic investment. In addition to prioritizing economic development on city property, our team is already working on the North Temple Economic Revitalization Action Plan. We like long names. North Temple should be a grand entrance to our city, but traditional economic development tools have not been effective. This revitalization plan will be created in close partnership with the North Temple business community, placing the community's needs at the center of the development. Thank you to our city council members for being such incredible advocates for your neighborhoods. Thank you for working with me on this. Our long-term strategy for economic development also includes a renewed commitment and significant investment in Utah's cultural core, Salt Lake City's downtown sports and entertainment district. Salt Lakers crave connection. That's why places like this exist here. Has the city ever felt more alive than those summer nights when Main Street was closed to cars? Hundreds of people in the street on their way for a pint at the Beer Hive or dinner at Eva's or a show at the Gallivan Center. We don't just want the Delta Center, but it's really fun and good to say the Delta Center again. We don't just want the Delta Center to be the place you go to see a Jazz game and leave. We're building a district around it where the fans are surrounded by opportunities to have fun before and after a Jazz game, before and after the ballet at the Capitol Theater, or a Broadway show at the Eccles, or checking out the latest exhibit at the Museum of Contemporary Art. I'm determined to make Salt Lake City, our downtown, a cultural and a recreation destination 365 days a year. Bridging that physical gulf between downtown and the west side would not only help the century-old divide in our city, but it could unlock the massive economic opportunity that's waiting in the 75 acres that lie between. The Rio Grande plan is incredibly compelling, and we have applied as a city for federal grant to formally explore moving the train tracks that have divided us for so long. Either way, improving connectivity and accessibility between and around all of our downtown destinations is a central component of our strategy. We need more and more efficient parking for cars. More efficient parking for cars, not flat parking lots. We need a secure bicycle garage downtown in our city, as well as an expanded capacity, frequency, and reach for our public transportation. The potential for our downtown is limitless, and our commitment to creatively fulfilling it will be relentless. Imagine the NHL team that plays its games in the Delta Center, or its successor and practices at a new open to the public facility in the Power District or the Ballpark neighborhood. Imagine a vibrant downtown Olympic medals plaza that becomes a permanent public park and concert venue. The economic opportunities we have are exciting on their own, but together they can define and drive the next 50 years for our city. And that's really the name of the game. Putting our opportunities to work for us, for all of us, confronting our challenges creatively. And we're doing it all together. They're coming at us, these challenges. They're coming faster than ever now. But that's what it means to be a growing city in this high-tech modern world. It's a good place for us to be. And actually, we are ready. We're ready for whatever comes next. The work we're doing now together is making this future possible. This more connected, more accessible, more sustainable, and more equitable future. We are ready. There are no shortcuts to this. There's no magic wands. I wish it were easier. Man, sometimes do I wish it were easier. But Salt Lakers are pioneers, aren't we? The pandemic, the earthquakes, the windstorm, the crises we faced together these last three years, they didn't make us resilient. They revealed our resilience and our strength. We're building a Salt Lake City whose brand and identity are driven by people who are proud of their city and who are excited about their future, not afraid of it. We are ready. Let's keep building Salt Lake City And let's do this together. Thank you for being here, and good night. Thank you. Thank you.